the news headlines.
Stereo music. Radio 1. Where you always hear a better sound.
I wouldn't be so sure.
Adrian, just.
Brother, you can say that again.
Winky, I'd like you to meet a gentleman from the Japanese trade delegation, Mr. Outside Kazi.
So, you big boss man, huh?
Now, Mr. Kazi has brought over this new invention here that he claims will save the BAC thousands of pounds a year.
That light, £1,000.
What is it? It looks like a robot.
More than robot. Listen.
Hello, I'm Adrian Just. Nice to be with you again. I'm not saying my wife's fat, but every time she walks down the street, the weighing machines jump back in the doorways.
Save you paying for little thing, huh?
Radio 1, Radio 1.
Oh, not off. But, is it reliable, Mr. Kazi?
Reliable! Listen, this machine conceived in Japan, researched in Japan, developed in Japan.
I say, my wife, my wife, my wife, my wife, my wife, my wife.
But unfortunately, built in Britain.
Hang on a minute. Wheel that other one in, that made in Taiwan job. Now, where do you switch it on? Here we are.
I am your automatic lover.
What?
Automatic lover.
I didn't order one of these.
I am your automatic lover.
Take your hands off me. Go and see Mike Smith.
What's that? Automatic lover. Automatic lover. I am your automatic lover. Automatic lover.
Dee Jackson with her diminutive little chum.
Automatic lover.
Not much of a conversationalist, is he?
I am your automatic lover.
Thank you.
Automatic lover.
Take these batteries out, somebody.
I am your automatic lover. Automatic lover.
Oh, I'm not putting up with this. Where's that bucket of water?
I am your automatic lover.
I'll put a stop to his shenanigans. These machines are making us all redundant. Your dad included, right?
They fired him. They replaced him with a tiny gadget this big. It does everything that my father does, only it does it much better. The depressing thing is my mother ran out and bought one.
Now that's one thing they can't replace. Or can they?
People used to say that matches were made in heaven. Or was it Sweden? Matches. Nowadays, they're more likely to be made by computer, and a firm has recently opened called Boner Soulmates, who offered to do it electronically.
Dirty perisher.
What we actually do, to find you the perfect partner, is we fill in your particulars. Would you mind answering a few questions?
No, I don't mind.
They're all worked out, these questions, by a psychiatrist to determine your personality, you see.
Now, first, what sort of car do you drive?
Well, what's that got to do with it?
Oh, well, you see, a car is a sort of virility symbol. The sort of car that you drive indicates the sort of person that you are. For instance, Sean Connery drives a great big powerful sports car.
Very butch, very potent.
Yes.
Very butch.
Right, well, what do you drive?
A Mini.
I bet you do.
Yes, well, I have a vintage model. But it hasn't gone for years.
I think that tells us all we need to know.
I don't trust those computers myself. You know, the BBC have got one in the office now. I can't get the hang of it. All those beads.
Two lovers part, it's just the start. Before too long they'll be at war. Nobody...
Frank is with Danger Games. And that's for all of us who were risking life and limb up at Birmingham City's ground last Sunday. Ooh, it's a colourful sport, football, all right. Mainly black and blue. Mind you, I shouldn't have been playing, really. I mean, well, how can I put it? I am to football what Cyril Smith is to hang gliding.
Cyril Smith, he's funny, very witty. He came in the front door and I shouted, "Nice one, Cyril."
Should love to believe you, can't see now.
Yes, good old Cyril. Do you know this week he saved the jobs of 200 Lancashire mill workers? He's ordered a new suit. Doing well with Special. And I think you'll agree it's a rather special kind of man who flies one of those whacking great jumbo jets around the world. But you know, when you hear the captain briefing his crew, well, you'd think there was nothing to it.
Now, when you buy a jumbo for £25 million, you get a handbook with it, same as when you buy a new Mini. And it says on page 6 that this aircraft will get airborne at 180 miles an hour. And the editor's decision is final on that. So all we've got to do is 180 miles an hour down 2 miles of concrete and it'll go up because it says so in the book. And during the takeoff run, one of us ought to look out of the window, otherwise the aircraft tends to run off the edge and it breaks all the lamps down one side of the runway. When we get to 170 miles an hour, you scream, "Rotate." At rotate speed, I very gently ease the stick back, very gently. The idea is to lift the nose wheel off the floor and balance 350 ton on our main 16 wheels so that we get a bit of draft underneath, otherwise it's not going to go up. If I overcook it, pull the sticks too hard, the tail will hit the floor, thus ripping the toilets out the back. Now, with 500 people on board for 7.5 hours, we could be knee-deep by the time we get there. At 180 miles an hour, you scream 180, I haul the stick back hard, and she climbs off at about 2,000 feet a minute. If it doesn't go up, well, you've picked a loser with this one. Can't take a joke, shouldn't have joined, that sort of thing. But the correct terminology, if it doesn't lift, is that we are bought on the runway, and any other bodily function that takes you at the same time.
Ah, so now we know what this bloke used to do for a living.
180!
Co-pilot. You can tell by the panic in the voice. Hugo Montenegro and his orchestra, and the good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, we've just been listening to the pilot's view of things, but what about the other staff on board the plane? The hostesses, for instance. A few passengers like these, and they've really got their work cut out.
What I says is this. If God had meant us to fly, he'd have given us more parking space at Gatwick.
Hey, you're right there, Matt. You know, we was in a plane once and this bloke pulled out a gun.
No.
He says to pilot, take me to New York. Pilot says, that's where we're going, you daft apath. He says, I know, but I've been hijacked 3 times, I'm taking no chances.
By gum, that's right. Everybody was scared stiff. In fact, every time stewardess opened a bottle of champagne, we changed course.
God, if I've heard that one once, I've heard it 1,000,000 times.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We shall shortly be landing at Waikiki, so please fasten your seatbelts and observe the no smoking signs. Oh, you know what, Jim?
What? He's left the microphone on. I'd better go and tell him.
As soon as we land, I'm gonna give myself a pint of Hostesses and then make mad passionate love to that new blonde hostess,
They needn't rush, lass, didn't you? He's gonna have a Hostess first.
Ooh, just a kiss, just a smile. Come on me, and I'll be satisfied.
Shaky and I'll be satisfied.
I demand satisfaction, you hear? Take me to the manager.
Manager, geen manager.
Oh, no, not him.
Excuse me.
I beg your pardon?
Do you think I might have breakfast in bed in the morning? In bed? Yes.
Of course, Mr. Little. Yes, we can manage there, can we do
Yes, we can. I'll pull you back.
Yes, easy to your legs. I'm sorry. Well, most of our guests manage to struggle down in the morning. I wonder if...
A full breakfast or the continental?
Oh, I don't
Our chef does a very good full breakfast. Eggs, bacon, sausage, tomato, fried bread.
The continental.
You wouldn't care for kippers?
Oh, fine. Kippers, yes, thank you.
Toast, butter, marmalade.
Yes, thank you.
Tea or coffee?
Yes. Tea, thank you.
A newspaper?
The Telegraph.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Rosewood, mahogany, teak.
I beg your pardon.
What would you like your breakfast tray made out of?
I don't really mind.
Are you sure? Fine. Well, you go along and have a really good night's sleep then. I'm hoping to get a couple of hours later on myself. But I'll be up in good time to serve you your breakfast in bed. If you can remember to sleep with your mouth open, you won't even have to wake up. I'll just drop in small pieces of lightly buttered kipper when you're breathing in the right direction, if that doesn't put you out. Ansel?
Yes, why prolong the inevitable? I don't know what he's complaining about, though. He had a continental breakfast in bed yesterday. At the Quilt. Pretenders, back on the chain gang. And talking of which, there's some loonies dragging balls and chains around with them in the Chelmsford area today. Apparently they're doing a sponsored jailbreak to raise money for Essex boys clubs. So if you're in that area, don't panic, it's not Ronald Biggs, it's them. And it's not these two either, they're still under lock and key. And by the sound of it, still arguing.
That's another thing and all. Look, papers. You're allowed to read the paper, all right? But when and only when I've finished with it, all right? Right, we'll shift out of the way then.
Do you think she'll wait?
Who?
Denise, my fiancée.
Oh, Denise, your fiancée.
Oh, dear.
I don't know.
Well, she's my fiancée.
I know, but when she promised to love you forever, she didn't know she was going to be deprived of you in here for 2 years, did she?
I can't sleep at night through thinking about it.
You don't want to start any of that. Don't start any of that. No good lying there thinking and twitching about what you're not going to get, no. Carnal thoughts, give them the big E, see? Big elbow. Less you think about women, the better. God blimey, look at her. Beauty Queen Shocks Council. Lovely Sharon Spencer, 22. She's more than 22, isn't she? Look at them, they're more like 44, ain't they? Shocked the town council when they learned that she played the title role in the new sensational film, The Virgin and the Vicar.
I wonder which she played.
Had we known, said a council spokesman, we would never have crowned her floral queen. I don't know what all the fuss is about, said Sharon. I am proud of my body, and what I do with it in my spare time is none of the council's business. Yeah. Wouldn't even get planning permission for that, would you?
Radio.